Hello and welcome back to Bookish Brits. My name is Michelle, and during the month of June, the Bookish Brits and I have been reading The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson.
The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson was June's Bookish Brits book club book of the month. God, that's a lot of different B words to say. As you can tell, this is the cover. This is the UK edition.
This is a book that was published in January by David Fickling Books, and it's had the most amazing reviews and support, and I hadn't read it, so I decided that this month was definitely the time to finally pick up this book and read it.
It is about two teens, David and Leo. They both go to the same school and both of them have secrets. David's secret is he is transgender. He wants to be a girl. And Leo's isn't revealed too much later in the book, so I can't take that due to spoilers.
He kind of wants to just fly under the radar, but eventually he does stick up for David as he's being bullied. And that kind of spurs on this friendship.
Gut reactions to this book. I did like it. It took a while to get into the story because I hated Leo. I hated Leo with such passion, and it took me until they actually met. It took me till they met before I began to warm up to Leo. And then once Leo's secret was revealed, then I went, aha, now I know why he acted the way he did, and it's so unlikable. In the first part of the book, he took a while to warm to. David I really like. I think it took me about 2 or 3 pages and I just clicked with him straight away. Leo took a while, but David was an instant click.
The thing that I loved so much about this book is that David and Leo are such wonderful, complex characters. You really get to delve into a lot of their characters, find out lots of interesting things about them within their families and their interests and friendships. And I really enjoyed this book a lot. And as well as the friendship angle, I loved hearing about the challenges, I think, of being transgender.
Yes, as with this book, as you can tell from this book and from everything you find out about this book, I'm going to put it there. This book does tackle the issue of transgender. Now, Lisa, the author, has worked with a charity in connection to this a few years ago. This was one of the ideas that came out when she was there, and you can tell Lisa knows her information. You can tell she worked hard to get the information right, because David knows a lot of the stuff that is involved. He knows of the stages, like the chemo, wrong book entirely, sorry. The medications, like the hormone replacements, the support groups, and the terms that you find out online. So like, he knows that there are things that you have to do to get to the point that he is. So this isn't just David and just discovering it, like most books in the YA genre which tackle LGBT themes, where they find out, they kind of discover halfway through the book that this is what they are. David has known this for a very long time, and he's up to that point. He's just at that point where he's going to tell people. So this isn't something that's just been thrown at him and he has to come to terms with it very quickly. He's known it since he was 6 or 8, so he's known it all his life, and he's just getting to that point where he's figuring out how to tell people. And his friendship with Leo is also very helpful with him coming to that point.
It was definitely very interesting, and I really hope that this book sort of sparks a bigger conversation about transgender people, especially in their teens.
Leo, I still have issues with Leo. I like Leo by the end of the book, but the start of the book I really disliked Leo because I found Leo was a very unlikable character. There was this big there is a metaphor throughout the whole of the book where Leo has this he goes to an abandoned swimming pool centre very close to where he lives. And that's his place. That is his place where he can just go and be himself. It's closed down. Something's supposed to happen, like it's been knocked down a bit, but nothing's happened to it. But you can sense that this is very much like a metaphor for him. This is how he feels. Like all the walls are up, all the barriers are up, so no one can really get in. and it does take a while for him. And by the end of the book, we find out, oh, that's going to be knocked down. And it's kind of very representative of how Leo is. Like, it took us a very long time to get to know him. It took David a long time to get to know Leo. And when Leo got to that point where we did get to know him better, we find out, oh, it's going to be knocked down. So it's really, really interesting to have these two very different people, who's one who's very open, but with his identity of who he's going to be and who he wants to be, which is he doesn't want to be David, he wants to be Kate. And then we have Leo, who is kind of the complete polar opposite, where he is very shut off, he is very distant from his family, and he has very little friends. And them meeting and them trying to figure each other out, their friendship kind of helps them sort of become more open in a way. Leo's relationship, Leo gets a girlfriend in the middle of this book. I found that very interesting. I really found that interesting for two reasons. First of all, as someone in my late 20s, early 30s, it was very interesting reading a teenager and going, oh my god, what are you doing? Why are you acting like a trip to this poor girl? And then at the same time, getting why she needed to know that. And then when Leo's secret is exposed in this really horrid way, seeing her not cope with it, just seeing her fall apart. And I would like to know her side of the story. I know that sounds like a very odd thing, but I would like to know how she coped with it, how she reacted to it, because we don't find out. We're sort of told that she finds out. We don't see her for a while, and we're told she's not going to tell the secret. Then the secret's exposed, and we don't see her until the very end of the book. So we sort of see her there, but we see nothing of her in the middle. She's just there, just like a ghost or a spectre in a way.
I also incredibly loved the fact that this book is set in the UK and in a secondary school. I feel like sometimes when books are dealing with something like being transgender, that it is kind of important to see those characters and those challenges within an environment that feels familiar to us. Because would it be the same if it was set in America? It might do for me. It might feel different. Lisa Williamson drops in a statistic about transgendered people in secondary schools that I feel is relevant to readers in the UK. So I feel like that was that made it a little bit more relevant, it being in a British school, and I felt like that was incredibly important.
While I think this book is hugely important, and it is hugely important, let's get this out there. One of the issues I had with the book was at times I felt the book was being a bit too light, because when you are dealing with something which is a sensitive issue like this, and people say it is part of the LGBT community, we expect a lot of ignorant, homophobic use, slur words, and the worst two words we heard here were freak and tranny, and both of those terms are not acceptable in this context. But it just felt like that was the worst, and I've heard much worse abuse online. So it felt very, at times, like she didn't want to go too dark into it. However, counteracting that, this book is hugely important, and if you are in a situation which David finds himself in, where he is, in his heart of hearts, he believes he is a girl. I hate saying believes. He is a girl in his heart of hearts. He is a girl, but in the wrong body. You need to show people, this book shows people that you can speak, you can talk, you can open up to people, and people are going to be okay, because it's you. You're not going to change overnight because you're born in one body and then you go, well, actually I'm another per sex, because you're not, you're still you're still... I'm not making much sense, I know I'm not, so I do apologise to the person who is editing this video, but this book is important. While there are little niggly things I didn't like about this book, I think this book is very important, and I think you guys will really like it. You might not love it, but you will like it. And if you see this anywhere, I think you should have a read.
Love this one and I highly recommend it.
Is my ramblings, my thoughts, my feels, my emotions over this book. Tell us in the comments down below what you do think, what your thoughts were. Do you without spoiling, I don't want spoilers, so over your reactions, your thoughts, your feelings.
In July, the Bookish Brits will be reading The Lost and the Found by Cat Clarke for our Bookish Brits book club. Do join in with us, send us your thoughts on Twitter at Bookish Brits, or join the Bookish Brits book club Goodreads group. I will leave a link down below. All of our book club videos generally go up on the last Tuesday of every month. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.